So let's jump right into a demonstration. I'm going to pull up a browser and we're going to navigate to office.com as we like to do and start out with our Office 365 portal. All right, here's our office.com portal. I've already logged in as my demo user. And as usual, we can see all of the apps here that are available to this user as part of their Office 365 subscription. And PowerApps happens to be right here on the second row. Don't worry if you don't see PowerApps listed right away. You can always click the button here, Explore All Your Apps, and that's going to list everything that is available to you through your Office 365 subscription. And quite honestly, I do recommend going in here every once in a while. You might find something new and you might find an app that you haven't worked with before. And hopefully we do have a webinar and some material to help you use those apps better. So I've already loaded up the PowerApps interface. Again, this is the beginning section or sort of the start point for creating a Power App. Well, let's just get rid of this help button here. And you can see a few different ways to get started, to create a Canvas app from blank, to create a model-driven app from blank, to start with data. Lots of different options here and lots of different templates as well. We're going to cover that in just a second. But really, just think about what you want to do and where you want to start. Let's start from data, for example. And let's go ahead and create an app. Here we can see that it's a Canvas app. And here we can see that it's going to be optimized for be laid out on a phone-sized screen. So after we select that, it's going to load the Power Apps Builder. And you can see here we have a presentation of different data sources. So we could, for example, connect to our Dynamics 365 and pull in some of our CRM data. We could connect to documents in OneDrive for Business and SharePoint. And here's an excellent example of a third-party tool, that being Salesforce, a non-Microsoft product that you can connect to. So for the sake of this demo, I want to connect to an Excel list that I've already built and saved, and I've uploaded that to my OneDrive for Business. So we're going to select this phone layout button here under the OneDrive for Business data source. And you can see that PowerApps is going to authenticate you against your Office 365 or Dynamics 365 services. You may be prompted to log in, but I've already done that to save some time. And here we can see the document in question that we want to use is called flooringestimates.xlsx. So that's an Excel file that I've made and saved here in my OneDrive. We can open it up and take a look just to show you what data is in this table. So I have a few different columns with headings, name, category, a price. I have a HTML link to a JPEG image that perhaps is stored on my web server. And then I have an overview. I have some description text. So let's go ahead and pick the Flooring Estimates Excel. And we're going to pick the table. Now, if you only have one table on the Excel file, that's fine. Whatever is sort of the key table in the Excel file, PowerApps is going to go automatically grab that. And it's going to sort of use some machine learning, some AI, and some common sense behind the scenes to really look at your data and get a feel for what you're trying to do for it. And it's going to do its best to build the app for you behind the scenes. Okay, so here's what PowerApps has generated after looking at that Excel sheet and that data that we've stored in OneDrive for Business. We're left with a 3-screen app. We have a browse screen, we have a detail screen, we have an edit screen. Now, as you work through this, and you can make changes obviously to text and fonts and colors and layouts and icons and so forth, my tip is to keep the undo button here at the top right handy, as you move things along they may interact with other elements on the screen. As you get the hang of it, you certainly will quickly, but you know, keep the undo button handy, as you may need to go and undo and redo things as you move forward. Now let's go ahead and click the preview the app button up here in the top. Looks like a play icon. That's going to make sort of a phone-sized screen simulator of our Power App. And you can scroll and use your mouse as you would sort of tapping with your fingers on the phone screen. So here's all those different rows that we had in our Excel list. So we had different types of hardwoods and tiles, and I believe we had some different carpets as well. So we can search in here. For example, let's look for teak, and that returns the golden teak. We have the picture here. That was the URL that was stored in the Excel file. Here we have the description, and oh, looks like it's cut off. So let's drill into this item by clicking that right pointing arrow. And here you can see sort of the full screen. Here's the image. We see a category that it's listed under. We have that full overview text, and now we can see a price. So as you can see, perhaps you're a mobile salesperson and you want to take a catalog with you on the go. This is a quick way of bringing your products into something that you can present to customers, again, either on a phone or tablet. Looks really professional, looks cutting edge, and can transform, for example, carrying a printed catalog or spending a lot of time and money reprinting every time your product lineup changes. So if you do want to make an edit to this particular product on the go as well, we can hit edit this item, and maybe we want to call this golden teak, give it a product number, for example, and we can save that here, and we can do that all from within inside the Power App here. We can go back to our main screen. We can take out our teak search, and that's going to return again all of those entries. And let's say we're at our carpet distributor and they brought in a new cassette, a different tone, different color, for example. We want to get that loaded into our estimating tool right off the bat. We can create a new item here from the Power App as well. So we would assign a category as carpet. We would give a name, an overview, description, that long sort of field of text. We would know the price. And then we could actually use the camera that's built into our phone or tablet to take a picture and store that in part of our OneDrive, and you'd get a link back to the app as well. So pretty compelling use. All we had to do was tie together the PowerApps builder with an Excel spreadsheet stored in our OneDrive, and voila, we have a pretty compelling app within a few minutes of build time. Okay, let's say for the sake of the demonstration here that we are satisfied with our flooring estimates Power App, and we do want to publish out this to all of our field service and field salespeople. A few important steps here that you're going to want to do inside Power Apps Builder. Like many of our favorite Office apps, we're going to go into the File menu, and here we have the opportunity to give this app a name. And we can choose a color, for example. We can get really creative, and we can use different icons as well. If you want to load a custom icon, you can. Let's just go ahead and pick the thumbtack, and we can give a description. And that's about all we need to do here on the app name and icon screen. We can select a default orientation on our phone or tablet, and we can even go into advanced settings, and if we do want to set limits for how many rows returned from that Excel sheet. In this case, we're just going to leave all of these settings the way they are, and we'll click the Save button. We'll again review that we want to save this as Flooring Estimator, and go ahead and save. Now, before we go and pull this up on a mobile phone, I do want to go through one more example. Let's go ahead and create a new app, but let's go down here and select the app templates. This time, let's use the tablet layout. So perhaps this is something that we need a little bit more screen real estate for. You can see some of the examples and some of the templates that Microsoft has built in are actually quite compelling uses on their own. If you want to create an asset checkout app, maybe for different office equipment or different tools within your business, you could do that. There's a budget tracker template, a cost estimator template, as I've mentioned a couple times, a leave request app. How cool would that be if all of your employees could use an app on their phone or tablet from home, from anywhere, put in a leave request. We have onboarding tasks. That might be something handy for the HR department, just to make sure new employees are shown everything that they should when they start on their first day. There's a service desk. There's a site inspection, product showcase. Again, this sort of builds on our carpet example. If you want to have traveling salespeople with a dedicated app, looks very professional and a lot easier to update an app than it is a whole bunch of copies of a PowerPoint presentation or but certainly easier than reprinting a lot of material for your salespeople. The final example here, the site inspection, this is the one that I'd like to use for the rest of my demo here. We'll just pull that up. Okay, and here's the result of loading up that template. Let's just jump right into the preview mode here. We can see the site inspection app. Microsoft's gone and populated this template with some data already, so you can see the different inspections that have happened for different Contoso buildings. But here, let's go ahead and create a new inspection. We can use title. As you can see, as we go through here, I'm just using the keyboard attached to my PC, but if you had this on a tablet, you would use the on-screen keyboard. Most tablets have a GPS built in, so you can use that for location type of data, or you can manually enter the address. For example. And again, because we would be using this on a tablet or a phone potentially, we could use the camera that's built into the tablet to add photos from our site inspections. So again, I go back to the example of a distribution company. If you're visiting your clients and you want to make sure your merchandiser is in good shape, or you want to make sure that your customer is using a poster you've given them or a banner that you've given them for free, you can send your field merchandising staff out with a PowerApp, again on a phone or tablet of their choice, and you can use the camera to bring all of that information back to head office. So let's just go ahead and click the done button. In this case, we're not going to add a picture. And you can see now that in the list of site inspections that have been done, we have Winnipeg Building 1 and we have our first look notes. But again, we can go into any of these, see more details. We can go into the edit screen. Again, that's always going to be one of the screens that PowerApps automatically builds in, is an edit screen. So perhaps we made a mistake and this was actually building 15. We can come in here quite quickly and make changes and view these photos. Okay, so different signage and perhaps a sidewalk refurbishment there. We can change our notes on the fly and be done at any time. And again, this was a template, and I think we spent 2 or 3 minutes and we're off to the races. We could change the name of this and we could call it store inspection or franchise inspection. Again, sky's the limit here, but the basics can be done by just about every user. If you had wanted to get really fancy, I would say work with a PowerApps partner that can tie in your third-party data sources as well. Okay, let's focus on deploying our PowerApp now. I've just clicked back into our home screen here in the PowerApps web app. I'm going to go into my apps list here, and you can see the flooring estimator that we just created. I'm going to just select the check mark here, and I'm going to go and click on share. Now from this, we can share this out to individual users or groups within our Office 365 tenant. So for the sake of today, let's just share this with Alan, as he is our traveling carpet salesman. And we're going to keep this box checked to send him an email just to let him know that a new PowerApp has been deployed to his user profile in Office 365. Okay, if you joined me for previous Office 365 webinars on Wednesdays before, this is probably a sight for sore eyes. This is my rusty trusty Android phone here for demo purposes. You can see I've loaded it all up with Office 365 applications, and we can see that I've got the PowerApps app here right on the center of my screen. And I'm going to go ahead and launch that app right now. As it's loading, one thing to point out, we did create the PowerApp as a user named Spencer, and I've logged into the phone here as a user named Alan. And you'll recall that in the previous step, we did share the PowerApp with Alan. So by default, Alan's PowerApps listed under My Apps are showing none because he hasn't created his own yet. But if we do select all apps, we can see the flooring estimator. We can see that it was created by Spencer Lowe. We see our nice red color and our push pin icon that we had customized. So we're going to go ahead and open that application right up here in PowerApps. and we're just going to have to sign into OneDrive for Business. And voila, here we are in the Flooring Estimates app that Spencer had created and shared with Alan. I'm just scrolling here with the finger on the screen of the Android phone, but you can see sort of naturally using my finger and getting around, touching all the different icons. They are sort of appropriately sized and spaced for using this on a smartphone, for example. So now we've kind of come full circle. We've used an app. In PowerApps, we've used a template. We've connected our app to some data, which happens to be an Excel table stored in OneDrive and shared between the users. We've deployed this app out now, and we're actually using it on an Android phone here, live, with interacting with all of this data. Again, pretty cool stuff, and I hope throughout the demo today you've already started thinking of some ways that you can use PowerApps within your organization, perhaps to get rid of paper-based forms or catalogs, things that your employees carry around with them that need to be updated frequently. PowerApps is included and part of your Office 365 subscription. There are standalone plans too if you do not use Office 365 currently. No developer is needed. As you can see, we didn't write one line of code to create our sample apps, connecting to data and connecting to a template. You can customize those templates to change your company colors or do what you want with graphics to suit your needs. And again, no code is needed there. You can create work apps and send them out to your mobile phone, and that can be iPhone or Android-based phones, as well as iOS tablets and Android tablets. You can trigger flows from within PowerApps if you do want to create an employee, special employees app with different workflows that they can trigger from a phone app. That's a really growing application of PowerApps. And the growing ecosystem of third-party connections and the common data model is a point to note. So again, if you aren't using Microsoft for all of your solutions, if you are using third-party social networks or data tools or marketing tools, again, rest assured that you can bring that data into PowerApps.